What is a sign in adulthood they were neglected as a child?
Before we begin with the first story, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us.
Number 20. Being clingy or the total opposite. Worrying that you're going to be left or abandoned all the time. Feeling like you're not good enough for anyone. Low self-esteem. Overreacting to small things. Paranoid about people's motives. Dealing with issues alone when you need help because it doesn't seem okay to ask for it. Becoming very attached to someone and being accidentally overbearing, trying to keep them around so they don't go away.
Number 19. Narcissism. My mom never speaks of her childhood, and knowing my grandparents, I think her narcissism was born out of some form of neglect. I think she was constantly competing for attention among her two other siblings, and everything today to her is whose side you're on or who is better, like a rank everyone has. She also absolutely hates being held accountable and can't stand hearing that something she's done has caused pain to someone else. She won't believe it, or it's because the other person is out to get her. If something doesn't go her way, she completely loses it. She and my dad got divorced earlier this year after 34 years of marriage, and a few months after my dad started dating again. My mom got so jealous my dad had to get a protection order. Thus far she has violated it once and been fined. Eventually, it could lead to a felony charge if she keeps going. If you ask her about it, it's not her fault. It's that my dad hates her and is making her miserable. I have stopped speaking to her because I can't stand her gaslighting or nastiness every time I try to help her. She turns everything around onto you and tries to make you feel bad. I suspect this behavior is a result of the environment she grew up in.
Number 18. I still don't think anyone wants to listen to me talk even when I have their attention. I overly apologize when no apology was needed. Teeth problems from never seeing a dentist until I was an adult, and then being reprimanded and criticized for said teeth problems. I only went to the doctor for emergencies, or if I needed a sign-off to play a sport. As an adult, I found I have multiple genetic problems, and if I had been taken as a kid, we could have learned about them before I was middle-aged.
Number 17. The inability to shop for food correctly. The house must always have an abundance of food available because the cupboards were bare when I was younger.
My partner grew up terribly neglected and undernourished. Our pantry is actually open shelves in our kitchen and fully stocked so they can see all the food all the time. I want to make sure they never worry about food again. It makes me sad.
Number 16. Don't do basic maintenance on themselves or wait until they deserve to have something basic. Like eating something they like or going to a movie. Sometimes I take a long shower or buy perfume. Other times it's things like sleeping in. They won't buy new clothes or the old ones are ripped/fallen apart. Things people don't think about doing that's part of your day-to-day. Someone neglected may have gotten that as a up reward system from their parents.
Number 15. Compulsive lying. For some people, if they weren't safe as a child to trust the adults in their life with their feelings, they can develop a sense of safety in lying. It helps them to feel like their personal inner truth is protected because nobody can invalidate it if they don't know about it.
Number 14. Trouble in their relationships, often seeking out unavailable partners.
Reply. This one recently really pissed me off. I fell head over heels for a wonderful woman who actually chased after me and gave me just about all of her spare time. I knew I had this behavioral pattern to go after unavailable women and sabotaging myself if things did seem to go well, so I made a conscious effort to break that pattern with her because she felt so genuine and safe. Then after a while she decided she wanted her ex back and discarded me like I was nothing to her. It's been over 7 months and I'm still not fully over this betrayal, and in my head, I keep fawning over her. It's pretty exhausting, but I did fully break off contact, so I guess I'm at least making progress compared to how things were before.
Number 13. For me, I literally do not ask for help until the situation is literally basically life or death. Asking help for physical tasks, mental health, advice, you name it. I'm a hyper-independent individual, and being vulnerable and open just isn't in my personality.
Number 12. People pleaser, over-apologetic. Says I'm sorry a lot even when it's not their fault, difficulty making decisions, self-critical, low self-esteem, self-soothing behaviors such as humming, rocking body or feet, shares a lot of ADHD-like symptoms and might even be diagnosed with ADHD. Panic attacks at random times and not knowing the reason for the sudden panic attack. Anxious around holidays or certain annual events, struggle with being the center of attention. Sometimes little things will cause a big emotional reaction. Difficulty asking for help, obsessions over certain things like food, clothing, cleaning. Wanting to do things for themselves and not including others, especially when it's normal to include others. Put themselves down. Over-explaining or providing too much information or detail when talking about why or what they did. Sleep disturbances such as night terrors, vivid nightmares, sleepwalking.
Number 11. This is something I feel is largely untalked about in regards to victims of severe neglect having difficulty with basic functional skills like cleaning, hygiene, etc. I know because that happened to me. When you grow up amongst bugs and mold and rotting food and trash, wear dirty clothes all the time, and go months without showering, sleeping in piss-soaked sheets that haven't been changed in months even though you wet the bed every night, it really f***ing affects your developing brain. Skills implemented in childhood are crucial for the rest of your life, and when you never are taught them, or never taken care of, or don't even have access to do it yourself if you wanted to, then once you're an adult you have to teach yourself all this shit you should have known by the time you were 12. You have to reparent yourself, and create new brain pathways to replace the F-up ones ingrained in you. It's really f***ing hard in a way people can't understand unless you've experienced it. A good metaphor for it would be never being taught to speak or read or write, and having to teach yourself to talk and read and write as an adult. There's just fundamental skills that are not there, and it is so much harder to learn that stuff as an adult. I don't even mean so much as not knowing how to wash dishes, though that's it too. My first boss showed me how to properly wash dishes when I was 18, as much as I do the fundamental organization, planning, management, and execution skills that underlay everything you do in your life. It's not just washing dishes for me. Every step in washing dishes is its own task that requires its own management, organization, planning, and execution. So washing dishes is actually 20 different individual tasks, and all of those things are overwhelming. Going back to the never learning how to talk to read or write metaphor, it's like it's never just saying /reading/writing words for me. Every single movement of my mouth, every single letter requires as much effort for me as it does for someone else to just say the word. By the time I'm done with A, everyone else is done with the whole alphabet. It's hard to explain, and I'm not sure if I'm doing a good job at trying to. There's just a piece missing that everyone else has, but I don't.
Number 10. Extreme defensiveness. Growing up you felt like you had to fight to the death for what you knew was right because you were constantly being told that things you saw in front of you, or experienced firsthand, didn't happen. Reply. Hate the question. What are you doing? Because it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong and am being told to justify my stupid behavior right now. It triggers the worst fight or flight reaction in me, and I can't stand that I get so pissy about it. Because it's like, never coming from a bad place, it's always genuine curiosity, yet I can't hear it without feeling like I'm being shouted at.
Number 9. Gets discouraged easily and always need words of affirmation because they didn't receive any from parents. If they make a small mistake, they can't help but keep thinking about it over and over again and feel like everyone in the world hates them. Yeah, that constant feeling of not being good enough and of doing things wrong, no matter how hard they try.
Number 8. First, not wanting people to be behind them or look over their shoulder. I can't deal with this at all. It makes me very anxious, feel like I'm going to be scolded or attacked. Second, being overprepared. Whether work, school, home, emergency kits, etc., or just in your bag or car, I have band-aids. Need a safety pin. Need Neosporin or Tylenol. Need a snack, because you have to take care of yourself and you can also then be a people pleaser.
Number 7. An odd one, but in my opinion, seeing the world in black and white. This was something I uncovered in therapy. I was neglected by a mother who dramatically oscillates between being very kind and despising me/telling me she wished I was never born. I do believe you should discipline your kids, but she does it in a way that convinced me she hated me as a human being and did not love me whenever I did something she didn't like. For as long as I remember, I've viewed the world through this lens, everything, myself, my relationships with others, aspects of my life, etc., is either perfect or horrible/worthless. If one part goes wrong, I become unable to appreciate the rest of it and become convinced it is all terrible. Even though I logically know this is false, I am physically unable to view it with nuance.
Number 6. I had a coworker who started off on a weird note at our office. She was overly complimentary with everyone and acted like we were close friends when we had only known each other for a few days or weeks. She was, and still is, very defensive of her job duties, and takes it as an insult of her abilities if anyone offers to help out. At the same time, she is always offering to help other people do their jobs. Eventually we learned, from her oversharing, that she had had an abusive childhood and first marriage, which made more sense of how she acted. She still overshares a lot, but she's great at her job, and all the acting like we are already friends feels less out of place when we know each other better. Also, this is maybe a personal quirk, she notices if people don't say, "bless you," when she sneezes and will comment on it later in a half-joking way. "Oh, you said bless you when so-and-so sneezed, but not when I sneezed this morning."
Number 5. In addition to what has already been said, constantly apologizing for things that need no apologies. When they talk, they might be prone to fast talking because they are not used to someone listening to them or someone not talking over them.
Number 4. I don't trust promises that people make. I avoid conflict as much as possible and tend to look for an exit if things get loud or if people move fast. I try not to be a burden to anyone, but I'm always checking in with people to make sure someone cares about them. I don't like spending money on myself, and if anyone buys me anything, I feel guilty or like it might be held over my head. I find more comfort alone or with animals than most people. I'm worried that I'm constantly disappointing people around me or wondering why anyone would want to be my friend or a romantic partner. I'm working on all of it, of course, and keep a normal appearance as much as possible. But my mind never really stops, and I just wish I wasn't so sad all of the time.
Number 3. Tearing up as soon as they start to talk about how they feel. Without exception, I've noted this is something people who weren't allowed to have emotions as a child do. This is something I think I do. I am really strong-willed generally, but when I walk into a meeting to describe how I feel, I end up in tears due to feeling passionate yet frustrated with the situation. I know my whole game plan, but soon as someone says, "How do you feel?" it's game over. When you're a child, especially an abandoned one, you don't have many memories as it is, so you can't even recall not being able to express emotions safely. It really is a vicious circle until someone says it based off observation.
Number 2. Being shocked that their existence and actions are perceptible or meaningful to others. For example, they might easily blow off hangouts, not bother responding to texts, and show up late to things before quietly sitting down expecting that nobody really notices their presence or has any care whether or not they're around in the first place, unless it is presumably random/convenient. Usually it is surprising and hurtful to realize that this has actually made the other people feel bad, but it is done with a genuine belief that literally nobody cares, and you have no possible influence on anybody's life or feelings either way.
Number 1. Fear of abandonment, especially completely unexpected. Believing people will find someone better, or they get sick of you. Believing what makes you unique are actually flaws, and more reasons to leave. People-pleasing resulting in a lack of healthy boundaries. Such as putting others' needs before your own and having a hard time saying no. And then once you do say no, wondering if they are mad or going to leave you. Not asking for help or having difficulty delegating. There's being strong and independent, and then there's being stubborn and refusing to rely on anyone else for any sort of help. Currently working though all of the above in therapy.
Thank you for watching. If you like to watch more of these videos, please leave a thumbs up, comments, subscribe. And don't forget to share to your friends and family. I'll see you in the next video.